Hi everyone, happy Kwanzaa. Today is the first day of Kwanzaa, which is Umoja, and it is unity, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. So since it is the first day of Kwanzaa, you would light the black candle, which means, the people, because the people always come first. So if you have the candle holder, that is called the kinara. If you have the 7 candles, it is the mishuma saba. I personally don't have a kinara. I don't have the mishuma saba, but I do have my fabric candles. I've been celebrating Kwanzaa for about 15 years now. I started when I was 14 years old, and it was because I was in a writing group for children of African descent, and we would have it every single year. So yes, I have a whole bunch of things that we are going to be doing today in celebration of Kwanzaa. I have a list right here that I'm going to read from. So we are going to be explaining some greetings. We're going to be doing a libation statement to our ancestors. I'm going to be putting some links below because I'm going to be doing some business shout outs. There's going to be an ancestor shout out with a slideshow at the end, some books of the day. We are going to be discussing the topic of Umoja, and there will be a task at the end for you to do during the day. So before I start and go into it, I would like to do the libation statement to our ancestors. If you don't know how to do a libation statement, you can do my version. There's other people's versions that they do. I just do it the way I do it, but you don't have to. So I have a cup of water and I have a plant. And what I am going to do is I am going to pour the water into the plant as I call on the names of my ancestors. And as I go along, I will explain it to you. So, a libation statement is a way of honoring our ancestors. We pour the water into a plant or on the ground to symbolize that we are giving to the earth because the earth gives so much to us. I will call on the names of my ancestors that are either related in my family or ancestors throughout history, and I will say Ashe, which basically means it is done, so be it, like saying Amen at church. So here we begin. You can join with me if you want and get like your own water. Emmett Till, Granny, Grandma Lavinia, Cousin Lenny, Uncle Richard, Uncle Kurt, Mr. Eric, Bondera Myers, Michael Brown Jr., Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, Ashe, Malcolm X, Gabriel Prosser, Denmark Vesey, Meta Warwick Fuller, Sam Hose, Ya Santewa, Queen Candace, Ankenaten, Hatshepsut, Ashe, Langston Hughes, Zora Neale Hurston, Han Matzeliger, Betty Shabazz, Dr. Sebi, Dr. John Henrik Clark, Dr. Ben Jokanen, Ashe. Who else? Mama Francis, Ashe, Queen Mother Moore, Josephine Baker, George Moses Horton, Phyllis Wheatley, Ashe, Mama Africa, Ashe, and for the hundreds and thousands of Africans whose names we'll never know because they lost their lives in the Great Ma'afa, we remember them now, Ashe. And with this, we say the ancestors are pleased. So you probably want to pour out all of your water, but my vase was small, so I couldn't pour out my water. But yeah, like I said, I got all dressed up for Kwanzaa with my little earrings that I made and my little skirt. I would like to tell you about the links that I'm going to be posting below before I go even further. So the first link I'm going to be posting down below is a link to my online store, which is Pan-African Paradigm, and it has all my buttons and cards and different things featuring people of African descent, which is specifically why I made that collection. So if you want to buy something, you can go there. Another is a Black business. This is my Black business shout out. It is a business in St. Louis. It's called African Naturals. African Naturals not only has the store in St. Louis, the owner also has an orphanage in Nigeria, and he is building a clinic in Nigeria. He's a hardworking Black man. I've never seen a Black man work so hard in my life. This man worked every single day, 7 days a week for over 5 years for his store, for his community in Africa. And he just gives and gives and gives and gives to people. Whenever he makes money, he lowers the prices. He does price matching. It's a very good business. He really cares about his community in St. Louis and also in Africa. So I'm going to post a link to his store. So if you would like to show support, you can. So another thing, if you are going to greet somebody on the day of Kwanzaa, or like one of the days, you would say Habari Gani, which means what's the news? And then you would say the principle of the day, which is Umoja. So tomorrow will be Kujichagulia, and you would say Habari Gani, and the person would say Kujichagulia. And you can do this, throughout the 7 days of Kwanzaa. Our featured ancestor for the day is Malcolm X. This is my Malcolm X box. I may have shown this to you. I painted this about 2 years ago. I'm going to have a slideshow of him at the end because he really represents Umoja to me, and that is why I chose him for the day. He did not care what he had to do to liberate his people from oppression. And that is why he is my hero for Umoja. So the topic for the day, before I begin that, the featured books of Umoja are all by Malidoma Patrice Somé. I have read all 3 of these. He is an excellent author. This is the first book that I read of his. It is called Of Water and the Spirit. I chose this because it represents community, getting back to your community, ways of healing your community, and community is an important feature of this principle of the day. So if you would like to research more of his books, he has Of Water and the Spirit, Ritual, The Power, Healing, and Community, and The Healing Wisdom of Africa. Okay, now we'll go on our topic for the day. So topic for the day is unity within, Umoja within. Out of all of the principles of Kwanzaa, I feel that Umoja is not only the most vital, but it is also the most difficult to achieve out of all of the principles of Kwanzaa. Some of the principles you can do by yourself, or like most of the principles you can do by yourself, but Umoja is one of the few that specifically asks you to work with other people. Kujichagulia, even though it's speaking of a unified self-definition, because it means to define yourself, self-determination, you can do that alone. Faith, Imani, you can do that alone. You can have hope alone. But Umoja, unity, working with people with different mindsets than you, different backgrounds than you, to get together for one cause is kind of difficult sometimes, unless you're all on your P's and your Q's. Sometimes when I go on Facebook, and I try not to go on too much, but sometimes when I go on there, I just have to start blocking people because I'll go down my timeline and I'll just see people just bashing each other, other Black people bashing each other over the craziest stuff. Like, Black women should do this. They can't wear that. No, you can't eat this. No, you have to eat that. And no, I can't believe you practice that religion. You need this spirituality. And no, you should practice the polygamy. No, it's not. I'm like, okay. We all need to calm down because these little issues are not getting us anywhere. It's just arguments. It is just arguments that do not lead anywhere. I used to be, as a child, when I first started, well, actually, I've been involved in the Black community since I was a child, but as the years have gone by, I've been focused more on my own personal self-development. And kudos to those that are still out there, like, trying to get people. But me, I got tired. I got physically exhausted from trying to pull people to work together because these little petty arguments were just causing unnecessary division, and I didn't understand why. Like, why is it okay? They have a different sexual orientation than you. They have a different religion than you. Yet all of y'all are getting lynched. All y'all getting lynched, okay? It really doesn't matter. Because when you look in history, you would have people who enslaved you from different backgrounds. You had some of different economic backgrounds, elite people, little poor people out in the boonies, all gathered together for one unified cause. One cause. They had one focus. It didn't matter if they were Catholic. It didn't matter if they were Christian. It didn't matter if they were some other faith, atheist or anything. If they came together to oppress one people, why is it that we let all of these small little things get in our way? It does not help at all. Criticism, even though this sounds like criticism, unnecessary criticism doesn't get us anywhere either. All of the time we utilize criticizing each other, we could be using to build something today, tomorrow, for the future, for our children. I'm sorry, I have to pause and think because I'm just getting like a lot of things in my mind that I have thought about over the course of years. I like to reflect on the civil rights movement. And a lot of people are like, oh, Dr. King did this and he was against Malcolm X and Malcolm. I'm like, you know what? No, they had two different perspectives. And at the end, they were coming together. But it didn't matter if they had two different belief systems because both of them were doing something to move people forward. It was all of us gathering together. Even about orientation. I think James Baldwin was gay. He helped with literature. Some people say Dr. Carver was gay. I don't know if that is true or not. I don't know. But he saved the South from famine because he was teaching them crop rotation. So I just don't understand. So if we have a problem gathering together, how can we still have Umoja? How can we still have Umoja? And the only thing I can think of is having Umoja within. Because this internal fighting, or actually not, external fighting is actually internal fighting. We can't fight ourselves. It's not going to get anywhere. We have to be at peace with ourselves. We have to be at peace with ourselves. Maybe it is more difficult for us to unify because it isn't as obvious as it was back then. I don't know. I mean, yes, we are still being murdered. Yes, we are still being filmed being lynched on camera. We're still being lynched. Like there was a boy in North County 2 months ago that got lynched in I think his mother's backyard. That was here in St. Louis. So, I mean, okay. I gotta pause. I'm just getting all jumbled right now. Maybe because we don't see the signs. Maybe because there's no signs around. Maybe because we don't see the physical chains on our hands. Maybe because our baby isn't physically being taken away and sold down the river. Maybe that's why. I don't know. But the one thing that we do need to do is be at peace within. When you are at peace within, everything around you will, I guess, circulate around your peace. if that makes any sense. I used to get so stressed working with children, so stressed trying to gather people to like support people in the Black community. And I'd be like, why won't they support? Why? I'm like, you know what? You are focusing on the ones that are not doing anything instead of focusing on the ones that are doing something. Support the ones that are doing something instead of complaining about the ones that aren't doing something. I was like, So how I do my Umoja within is actually Ujamaa, which is cooperative economics. I'm like, I show my unity by supporting a Black-owned business. I show my unity by housing my people in my apartment, even though it's a little apartment. If you're my people and you need a place to stay, I have had people stay in my apartment. I didn't even charge them rent, even though I was struggling with my own rent. I didn't charge them any rent because I feel we are in the struggle together. It doesn't matter how far you go in life, I guess economically speaking, because at the end of the day, it's just like a racist person just sees you as just the N-word for real. I mean, look at what's his face? Henry Louis Gates Jr. They didn't even think he belonged in his own house. They're like, this Black man doesn't need to be in this house. Like, what the heck? Or that guy that tried to take money out of cash his check, deposit his check at, I guess it was Huntington Bank, and they didn't believe that he could make that much money. Like, I don't know. If you don't have Umoja within, unity within yourself, and you're trying to gather people together that don't want to get together and just want to argue, you will drive yourself crazy. You will give yourself a stroke. I mean, look at Dr. King at the end of his life. He had, the heart of a 60-year-old man? He was barely 40 years old. And maybe it was his diet, but I'm pretty sure it was just stress. Just stress. We have people arguing on social media about it's good that they're bringing attention to certain things, but I'm talking about the petty things that don't move us forward. Just because my diet is different from your diet doesn't mean we have to argue all the time, because all the food is poison anyway. Just because my spirituality is different than your religion or spirituality doesn't mean we have to fight all the time. If we were both truly practicing our spirituality, none of us would be arguing. We would just be showing love and care for one another. So I feel like one of the first things that we have to do is just take a break from infighting and just heal ourselves personally. Because it's a personal problem. For real. People ask, why is there Black on Black violence? Da, 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 da. What about such a... I'm like, okay, they're acting like random Black people going out shooting other Black people when there's usually some personal problem, either within or with that other person. We have to learn how to communicate better with one another without bashing each other down. We have to use different words with each other, and this starts during childhood. I have seen so many young mothers. I've seen two different types of mothers, actually. I've seen ones that are very dedicated to their child, or their children. They'll do anything for their children. They'll have their children on the most pristine diet ever. They'll call their children like queen and king and sun and moon and stuff like that. But then I've seen others where they just curse their child out. They curse their child out like their child is their enemy. We have to learn how to talk to each other better. We have to learn how to communicate to one another in a better fashion and communicate with ourselves in a better fashion. So my task for you is, if you are out in the community and doing stuff for people and like losing your mind and losing your health and losing your energy. I just say pull away and get unified within yourself. When you get unified within yourself, everything becomes clearer. You will gain more clarity. There used to be a time I would run around, I would donate money to people, I would donate art pieces to organizations, and they wouldn't even pay me. I would illustrate whole people's books, and they wouldn't pay me. I was very young. I was like a teenager. I had one organization, they laughed in my face because they hadn't sent me a paycheck in over a year. I'm just like, what? But we can't just let one incident with our people just color everything about our people, because we're different people. I'm a different Black person. Somebody else is a different Black person. We're not all the same. We're all different beings. So we have to just learn to know that we are different from one another and accept that. Not all Black people are the same. And we just have to get over that in order to get things done. If we just find a common ground, personally, if we just find a common ground with our needs, like don't you want your child to have clean water? Don't you want your child to have a good education? Don't you want to eat good food? Just basic stuff like that, basic human needs. If we can just get on a level of basic human needs, I think that will be the first step to unifying as a people overall. But anyway, so that's my little spiel. I'm sorry if I was rambling, but I am going to do this slideshow now, and you all have a very happy Kwanzaa. Bye-bye.